Ooh, what did you say? Can you say that again? Right into the side of my thing? I heard you.
A TikToker named Deadbeat TV is investigating a haunted farmhouse for traces of the paranormal when he gets an answer to his question in the form of a passing shadow.
What did you say? Can you say that again?
He is standing completely still, and yet something moves fast across the floor. The shadow is perfectly contained within this room and does not touch either side of the doorway at all. It doesn't come from behind. Something ran across this room, a low-moving shadow with no body attached, and shortly after, this second ghostly shadow reaches out. This seems like something paranormal to me. Is something in this Redditor's bed? Redditor Zealous Ideal Art 8526 shares a video of something sinking into the bed while they and their dog are sleeping. Take a look. It almost looks like the bed deflates. At the same time, a shadow appears on the back wall. Watch again. While the Redditor clarifies that the shadow may be caused by the TV, the rest isn't as clear. No one in the comments has any theories as to what it might be. Most agree that it's paranormal activity, or at least consider it odd. The movement is so strange. I don't have any explanations either. I'd like to see more evidence within this home. A man in an undisclosed city hears this noise and begins recording. He sounds like he has anxiety from hearing this noise, and then later in the video you learn something very strange.
Yet again, I can hear that echoing sound, that eerie sound again today.
So obviously that has been going on for some time. However, nobody else around him seems to be upset or alarmed from the noise. Maybe this is some kind of ordinary city sound, and the uploader is pretending to be afraid as a prank. For those of you who have lived in a large city, what is this noise, and why would you hear it on and off for months on end? Mr. Green published this video in 2016. His description reads, "Just a normal night with me, the missus, and our dog Freddy. Then all of a sudden he went mental at the wall or window, and whatever it was just touched him. This is no joke, I'm freaking out. The dog is barking at the window in the beginning of the clip, then suddenly he backs away sharply and quickly. The couple believes the ghost touched their dog because of this jerking movement."
The window. What the f—
The dog spends the remainder of the video running around the house like a madman, looking for the ghost. He's no longer barking, but he does seem very agitated. His owner tells him to calm down now, and he does seem to calm down for a moment, but when the owner picks him up to hold him, he starts barking hysterically again. What could have touched that poor dog? Was it a ghost? If it was a ghost, what did it want and where did it go? Is this streamer signaling to followers that she needs help? Her followers think so. Shared by Krusty Krab, TikToker Ellie here 01 posted this live stream by user 1010101011075. Although there is no context, she looks slightly distressed in the video, but what viewers are really focusing on is the hand signal she appears to flash.
Power here. So, just to clarify, no more screen recording videos or...
Did you see that? Watch closely. Many in the live chat observed the woman's signal, as you can see in the comments running across the stream.
So, just delete it all, it's all fine. Everything's okay. You said to go live, so I've gone live. On live, everything's fine, just saying. So,
the young woman looks disturbed, and when one person types, "Say yes if you aren't okay," she responds,
yeah.
If anyone has further information on this video, please share it in the comments. This mystery is nothing short of terrifying. Things are getting out of hand with this pyro poltergeist. Published by Memoria Sobrenatural Inc. in December of 2021. The spirits first make their presence known in this haunted place via EMF meter. The crew tries to communicate with the spirits and the window shutter slowly opens, perhaps to distract from the fire being set behind them. When they leave the building, they see a dark figure cross a doorway in the firelight. Later, they're back inside and they hear clinking.
Cara, que sentimento horrível, pessoal.
And then a loud bang. The flame they lit earlier goes out suddenly. Then, as they attempt to detect a presence using the EMF meter, the spirits send them up in flames. Do you think this team finally got the message? This poltergeist couldn't be any clearer. He wants them gone. I don't think I'd ever go back to that place. Who is standing on the side of this road? While driving at night, paranoiacs captured this obscure figure standing there in the darkness. When they back up a moment later, the figure is gone. Where did she go? I think it's probably for the best that she disappeared. This is one hitchhiker you really shouldn't pick up. What do you see around this corner? Published by Arte Morbid and originally posted on TikTok by Haunted Wesley E. Manor. This short clip is just one more proof that the manor is truly haunted. In a very dusty chamber of the castle, watch the corner of the arched doorway closely. What appears to be the figure of a small boy with glowing eyes peeks out for a moment before pulling back behind the barricade. He seems to be hiding. Is this a ghost? Or some small kid playing tricks in the castle? Most in the comments think it doesn't look human and call it very creepy. What do you think? I think we are going to be left with more questions than answers for the time being. This video was published to YouTube in July of 2007 with the title, Dragon was caught sight of by infrared rays. This video appears to show the ghostly smoky figure of a long creature fly through the air, from the top to the bottom of the frame. Modern scholars suggest that crocodiles might be the closest to resemble a dragon, and maybe what informed its imagery. Or maybe this creature is something else completely, and just somewhat resembles a dragon. Nothing else like this has been caught on the security camera since. Have you ever felt like you were being watched? Published to YouTube by Mo Vlogs in July of 2018. This CCTV footage will spook even the bravest among us. While most of this video is super upbeat, about 10 minutes in is where the terror enters. It's then that Mo claims that he was being watched the day prior while taping his vlog, and he has the CCTV footage to prove it. He says there was a spooky person in a mask following him all day. Although Mo admits he thinks it was a prank, he pulls up the CCTV footage of this spooky lurker to show viewers what he had to contend with. The lurker appears to be wearing a black hooded robe and a white mask, walking at a gilded gate. He is seen crossing a parking lot, though it's not clear from whence he came from or where he is going. Mo says the footage was filmed that morning, not the day prior, so he surmises that the only person the lurker could be is his security guard or his mom. Prank or not, this haunting image is sure to give you nightmares. A YouTuber named MMW Neighbor has a huge problem just 1 yard over. An oversized neighborhood pit bull has repeatedly slammed itself against the fence to the point where the structure is cracked and weakened. Now the wood bends dramatically with each hit. What's amazing is that the dog is behaving this way completely unprovoked. All the YouTuber has to do is simply come outside for all of this to start happening.
Nothing. Not even antagonizing this dog.
Hopefully the vicious dog is never able to get through. If it does, then I doubt his camera is going to be able to save him. A news reporter hears a train approach and gets an idea for a shot.
Here, oh, let's do it. Train.
The idea is to have her walk into the shot and let the train pass by for dramatic effect. The only problem is she can't look over her shoulder because it'll ruin the shot. She has to guess how close the train is, and her estimations are a little off.
20 minutes after midnight. Oh!
She manages to take 2 steps and is barely off the tracks when the train flies by. This could have ended a lot differently, and there would have been absolutely nothing for the cameraman to do to stop it. This strange sighting looks like an oversized bird of prey from far away. Make no mistake, this is no bird. Moments ago, this creature with long wings was sighted scaling the dome of a cathedral in Mexico. The demon-like creature looks over its shoulder and sees it's been caught on camera, but it doesn't much care. It flies up to the top and extends its wings before taking off. This video has gone viral in the Spanish-speaking community, so I figured I would give my analysis. Some people are saying that this is a bat, while others are saying this is a demon sighting given its location with the cathedral. But I wanted to clear up the confusion and say this is from a CGI artist named Fernando Loga. Now, if you see this anywhere else on the web, since it's spreading like crazy, now you know what actually happened here. Here's a question for this video: human or mutant? Published by Mr. Illusion. I truly hope that this is an illusion. The scary video shows a creature with a very human-like face curled up on the floor. Its body, however, is not human. It's small and extremely hairy with hooved limbs and sharp talons. I wouldn't want to run into this horror in the wild, and I'm pretty sure 83% of people wouldn't either. Only 17% can handle it. A YouTuber named Brady Galloway is exploring an abandoned school all alone when he hears some kind of high-pitched yelp emerge from the other side of a heavy wooden door. It almost sounds like a small dog, even though there is no way that one would be all the way back here. He opens the door, presumably to see if the animal needs help, and waiting on the other side is a creature that was once human. In this frame, one eye is large and yellow, while the other is small and red. His neck looks turned at an impossible angle and almost broken. Even when he gets closer, the 2 eyes remain different colors, and neither of them are natural in any way, as he descends upon Andy with a final blow. There's something lurking around this haunted place, shared by TikToker The King Horror. The kid who saw it with his own eyes cried in fear. After racing far away from the place, they turn back, and then they see this. This hooded figure is something nightmares are made of, and he's the perfect villain for bedtime. Dominic Mancuso has been involved in an ongoing feud over something he doesn't even understand. All he knows is that his neighbors are apparently obsessed with watching him and making him feel as uncomfortable as possible. It's all part of a 6-part series that spans over the course of months. Very little of their behavior makes any sense. When Dominic finally has had enough and confronts his neighbors, this is apparently all they have to say. The strange laughter coming from Dominic's neighbor is both creepy and slightly concerning at the same time. His neighbor ducks under the fence and keeps bothering him later in weird new ways. By the end of it, Dominic still has no idea what his neighbors want from him. And quite frankly, neither do I. Brett Hankins is taking a Halloween hike through the Indiana wilderness when he spots something lurking low to the ground in the brush below. At first, he isn't sure if it's just a native coyote, which doesn't bother him much because they usually tend to leave humans alone, but then he zooms in and realizes that this is probably a large wolf on the prowl, which is a different situation entirely. Wolf or not, watch how easily this animal blends into its natural surroundings. It would have been all too easy for Brett to have casually stumbled onto the predator's hiding spot by accident, and by that time it's probably already too late to get away. And let's not forget, if there's one nearby, there's probably a whole pack somewhere close. With that said, I'm not positive if this is a wolf or not, so maybe someone can help me decide. The grounds where a double life-taking has occurred is no place to be at night. The guys in this video learned that the hard way. Published to YouTube by the Valspire family in October of 2017, this ghost investigation has all the right ingredients for fear: a storm, an abandoned house at night in the middle of the woods, and a Ouija board. The host, Aiden, says the house has a super creepy backstory and is said to be haunted. The story goes that two male lovers built a mansion up in the woods. As such things weren't accepted at the time, the men had their lives taken in this home. The suspects received life sentences in 1982, but the fact that the police investigation turned up occult tools and books, along with the macabre decor of the home, turned the event into a media circus. The men were labeled devil worshippers. And now back to this video. The ghost investigators leave their house at midnight in a storm, planning to arrive at Corpsewood Manor at 3 a.m. They drive into the woods and then set out on foot on the path, not sure where they are, ready to get lost. They arrive at a fork in the road and finally find their way to the abandoned manor. Aiden hears a grumbling, which he admits may be thunder.
I heard like a grumbling, but that might have been thunder.
He says that his camera, with its full battery, keeps shutting off every time they attempt to start with the Ouija board. At 3 in the morning, they begin asking the Ouija board if anyone had their life taken there. Nothing happens, but they do hear something in the vicinity. Aiden says that he wants to go check it out and thinks it sounded like someone walking.
I heard someone over there.
Jared is freaked out, hearing another sound in the trees. He thinks it was probably the wind.
Dude, I heard something.
No, you did not.
They decide to leave because Jared can't take it anymore. Can you blame him? Aiden recalls that when he sat at the Ouija board and opened up the portal to the spirit world, he forgot to say goodbye, and he claims that ever since then, weird stuff has been happening. All I know is that place seriously seemed haunted. Paranormal explorer Thiago Ferracao returns to the Benzedeiras house in this scary video, published in May of 2022. Legend has it that Maria began by doing good, blessing people, but ended by taking her own life after she started doing dark magic rituals. Ever since, her house has been haunted, and Thiago is on a mission to spend the night there. As he enters, someone is standing in an adjacent room. Before he can step inside, the door slams in his face. Is it Maria?
Meu Deus! Ai, foi isso?
When Thiago pushes his way into the room, no one is there. Checking out the corner in which she was standing, they hear an animal in the room.
Cara, tem bicho ali, ó. Olha, uma aranha. Você tá vendo?
Then it seems like the animal goes after Thiago. Later, as they attempt to communicate with Maria via a spirit box, they hear this.
Que foi isso? Vai.
They continue throughout the house, trying to convince Maria that they are not there to hurt her, but she does not seem convinced.
Vem pra minha esposa. Thiago.
When the door finally stops banging, they open it. They leave the house wishing Maria peace, but does she wish peace upon them? A YouTuber named Gaurav Zone is examining a notoriously haunted road in New Delhi, India. They idle their car and wait in darkness for a while to see what happens next. I was starting to think the video could be fake until I noticed one part in particular. What appears to be two yellowish eyes briefly stare at them before disappearing. I was thinking that this could just be a reflection of the car's brake lights, but if that was the case, then the lights should be red, not yellow. I also don't know what would catch the light's reflection, since they are on a desolate road in the middle of nowhere. The strange eyes, if that's what they were, disappear and never return, not even when the cameraman zooms in for a closer look. A group of friends are hanging out late at night when a strange yelping sound brings them to a window to investigate.
Do you hear that? What the?
They start to argue about if it sounds like a regular animal in distress or some sort of rare and mysterious creature. Listen to these noises and tell me if this sounds like anything you've ever heard in the woods before. All of them soon start to feel uncertain about hanging around the open window and back away. I think it sounds like it could possibly be an animal that's being hunted, but I'm not sure. What do you think is happening? And would you be brave enough to go into the woods and find out? I wouldn't. A CCTV video captures an ill-mannered apparition as it ravages a store just 20 minutes shy of 3 a.m. It slinks across the far wall first, knocking 2 items off the opposite shelf as it moves down the aisle. To be honest though, the way this object on the top shelf gets caught at 13 seconds looks like it could be pulled by a string. Next, the shadow somehow passes across the aisle without appearing in the glass or the bright reflection on the floor. A minute later, the door to the cooler shakes hard enough to rattle the glass in its pain. Camera 7 shows the outside of the cooler, and camera 8 shows the inside. Nobody is anywhere nearby, or in the entire store for the matter, and yet the door shakes uncontrollably. I think this could be a real poltergeist because of one simple fact. This door is airtight to keep the drinks cold. It has no knob to grab onto and must be opened with a button on the wall. Therefore, I don't think somebody could have made it shake like this, even if they stood on the other side and tried. Another momentous visual history caught on live TV. The powerful image of the toppling of the Saddam statue in Firdos Square was broadcast all over the world, signaling what the Bush administration hoped would appear to be the end of what he started. Mission accomplished, only their involvement went on until December 18th, 2011, so not quite accomplished at that point. The moment was one of the scariest and most powerful caught on live TV. Iraqi civilians, some of whom theorists believe were paid, and US troops came together to tackle the imperialistic statue, marking what was supposed to be a symbolic moment in the lives of many Iraqi citizens. On international TV, it looked to be a moment of spontaneity. As it turns out, it wasn't as it seemed. According to investigations on the matter, tight focus shots used by the media suggested that the square was packed, when it wasn't. Most in the crowd were also not Iraqi, but rather Marines and journalists. Moreover, the flag and sledgehammer were supplied by the US. The act was not as spontaneous as it was reported. The footage suggested that all of Baghdad was enthusiastic of the toppling of Saddam, but this suggestion was inaccurate. According to Peter Mass, a journalist who was at Firdos Square on the day, they were ready to latch onto a symbol of what they believed would be a joyous finale. It was an unfortunate fusion, a preconception of what would happen, of what victory would look like, connected at Firdos Square with an aesthetically perfect representation of that preconception. Despite the illusionary nature of this event, this scary and iconoclastic visual is one of the most impactful caught on live TV. This one's pretty straightforward. A ghost is poltergeisting this kitchen chair in YouTuber. Eclectic nonsense is home, and there's no denying it. The chair is being driven at the cameraman, and he can't seem to get away from it, but that's where the clip cuts out. Did the ghost officially drive the human out? If so, I'm impressed by his persistence. This scary video clip captured not just one misty spirit miraculously floating atop the water, but a second emerging from below. Posted to TikTok by Horror Talk, the apparition gracefully glides on the water's surface, only for his brother's head to appear, materializing from the same point in the water. It grows upwards, but we're left to wonder where the pair of spirits wandered off to, and from where they came. Some in the comments think this is a weather balloon, others say it's La Llorona, the weeping woman who roams the waterfront. What do you think it could be? Costa Rica is full of many beautiful sights. Under your pillow is not one of them.
Scorpion on my pillow.
Is it alive?
I'd say it's very much still alive. A gigantic stinger is curled high above at the ready. I don't know if he was sleeping under this terrifying creature all night, but I think he might have been. If so, he's really lucky he never fluffed the pillow. Seriously though, I really want to know what kind of scorpion this is, and how risky this event really was. Filmed near Shady Lake at Arkansas's Washita National Forest. This family was camping in a secluded campground when they encountered a creature that some think is a myth. Published by Jim Harrison in September of 2012, the camera is panning across the darkness when a large hairy figure moves into view not far off. Needless to say, the cameraman turns tail to flee, and I'm guessing he made it out alive with this wicked footage to show for it. While you may not be a believer, many in the comments of this video are. A number of them even share their own encounters with Sasquatch. If you happen upon a site where a sacrificial ritual was performed, run far, far away. YouTube channel Se Investiga Cazadores de Lendas was exploring this abandoned place when they came across just such a site. They enter a room with lifeless animals and a pentagram on the wall. On the ground is a ponytail of hair and candles. There's a burnt animal skull on the wall.
Tudo aconteceu onde tudo acontece. As coisas apareceram aqui. Foi da última vez também que ele apareceu de ponta cabeça aqui na parede.
As they're in this creepy room, they hear a noise. Soon their flashlights start to go haywire, and when the light turns back on, a demon has taken hold of one of them.
Minha lanterna não quer acender também.
Nossa, olha aqui. Meu Deus! Que é isso, Adriano? Que é isso, cara? Que é essa, velho? Pelo amor de Deus! Meu Deus do céu, cara, que é isso?
Later, they return to the room and see this. Well, it's not clear to me what this demon clown is or what the creature in black wanted from them. One thing is clear, they shouldn't be here. This terrifying footage was filmed in an elevator in Chile. Jose Acevedo gets on the lift and presses the button. Little does he know that this will be the ride that changes his life forever. As soon as the button is pressed, the doors violently snap shut and the elevator lurches upwards. Jose knows that something is majorly wrong and immediately presses the emergency stop button. Instead of stopping, however, the elevator climbs even faster. There's literally nothing for the man to do except repeatedly push the button, while panicking as the elevator races up 31 floors in less than 15 seconds. Finally, he begins to swat at every button. Adrenaline taking over as he desperately hopes that just one button will work and bring an end to this terrible ride. He is absolutely helpless and appears to be too scared to even scream. Unfortunately for him, the only thing stopping this elevator is the roof itself. The elevator slams into the top of the building at full speed, and inside, Jose's broken body slams against the crumpled walls. He survives somehow, but now he has severe head and leg injuries. Also, the damage to his spine means he is sadly unlikely to ever walk again. This video takes place somewhere in the South American country of Chile during the middle of a street race. A number of cars rush past and soon an animal randomly materializes without making so much as a sound. Watch again in slow motion, and it really does appear as though the dog steps out of an invisible portal. You can see its front half emerge first, followed by the torso and back legs. Then again, the blurred edges around the dog's body does look like it could be made through editing. I am not an expert in video editing though by any means, so let me know if you think this is real or CGI and how you could tell the difference. Have you ever come across a haunted playground at night? This YouTuber has. He describes this perfectly chilling nightmare fuel with even more chilling imagery writing. While driving around in some unknown forest, I found this person rocking on some kind of swing. That description alone is enough to send chills down your spine, but watch the video and you won't be able to get this nightmare out of your head as the person filming sits inside his vehicle, shutting the headlights off and on again at random. The person rocking on some kind of swing is caught in the headlights. When the lights shut off, the next time they shine, the figure is in a different area of the forest. Its disappearance and reappearance are completely unsettling, especially when the figure comes closer and closer and closer until he disappears. Somehow his absence is the most upsetting part of the entire clip. That is, until... And that's where this video ends, leaving us wondering what happened to this unfortunate cameraman. With a pair of tweezers in one hand and a bucket in the other, Rory Shumack approaches Lacey, a pet monitor lizard with a tick that needs to be carefully removed. The sun is in his eyes, and he's too busy looking for the tick to pay attention to the other end. I'm sure you saw Lacey's jaws, but it also tried to whip him in the face with its tail. After watching this failed attempt, I would probably have a professional vet perform a tick removal, but tell me if you can think of a better way. Who's hiding behind this mirror? This short clip posted by TikToker Sion Wick prompts that question. Watch it snap this Pokemon card up. The TikToker writes, "We're waiting for it to trade us back." In the comments, Reed Hart points out the black fingers at the mirror's edge at the beginning of the clip. Take another look. They look more like spider legs than fingers to me, but if that's the case, this guy's got a mad strong spider on his hands. A man has a rather big problem in a small room. His lights are turning on and off on their own, and he can't figure out why. Across from him is a light switch that he is standing nowhere near. Not that pressing the light switch makes much of a difference. The light keeps turning on and off in rhythmic intervals regardless, like something's trying to communicate to him its presence. After 5 minutes, it finally stops through no doing of its own, and it never happens again. He shows every wall except the one to his immediate left, so perhaps a second person is standing by a dimmer switch to fake this video. But what's weird is how, almost 2 years ago to the very day, he caught something on camera that was bizarre. A door that kept opening on its own. No one is visible on the other side of the door when it oddly opens. Like the lights, the door only did this for a single day and never again. Was a ghost to blame? In Toy Story, the toys come to life in a charming manner when the kids are away, but when it happens in this video, it's more chilling than charming. Originally posted to TikTok by Oscar Furlan, the video shows a Woody doll standing upright on the kitchen counter with one hand on a can. Noticing that a human person has entered, the doll glances over at him before dropping his hand, going stiff like a board, and falling over backwards into the kitchen sink. Although it truly does look eerily real, some claim it's an animation, while Redditor Anna Cabana says the dolls are designed to fall over in this manner when hearing the phrase, "someone's coming." Regardless of whether it's an animation or the toy's design, I think we can all agree with Mythical Gamer 9 who writes, it looks a bit too real, still very creepy, definitely not a toy on my wish list. This one might be harder to hear, but it's worth it. While investigating, YouTubers Ghost Dimension heard something strange at Newsham Park Hospital in Liverpool, England. Listen closely.
I don't know, I can understand it, it said something, but not like our language.
Oh my god, like tongue or something.
Yeah, that's poltergeist that.
Is it?
A foreign tongue. And a growl.
First, they hear voices in a foreign tongue, and as they listen, they hear a snap. A little later, they hear more unexplained sounds.
Yeah. I heard that. Yes. I heard that.
I'm getting a bad feeling.
Oh, don't, please don't.
No, I am.
To me, it sounds like distant footsteps and voices. And then immediately after Neil asks if anyone is there, you can hear a subtle humming.
On there.
Should we go upstairs?
Do we go up or down? Or is that woman's downstairs? I'll go. Yeah.
And as they're about to head downstairs, they hear an undeniable racket from the basement.
Got a feeling that there's more than one.
Should we go up?
When the sound gets louder, they hightail it upstairs.
Yeah. Yeah, no. That's not good.
Should we go up then?
Yeah. Go.
Neil, stay with me. Neil, there's something behind us.
There was definitely something in that haunted hospital with them. I'm not sure if it was paranormal or perhaps another group of investigators, but hearing it without seeing anything put me on edge. Jason Nilsson and his friend are walking along a path of frozen ice in Utah when they come across some kind of creature colony the likes of which they have never seen before. They appear to have a squishy, loose form, yet they show little reaction when touched.
Okay, touch it.
Oh, did you see it?
Slimy?
Yeah.
Use a stick or something. Gross. Gross.
Oh, weird.
What if it's like a disease?
The giant circular patch of ice has hundreds of strangely shaped egg-like objects melting deep into the ice, but I can't tell if these are actual eggs or maybe even some kind of larva. Whatever it is, the tiny creatures are neatly lined up in creepy, nearly symmetrical rows and not moving. Maybe they are either frozen or worse, still waiting to hatch. Nobody in the comments section has been able to properly identify what these things are, which makes me even more curious. I wonder if this really could be some sort of hatchery site for a rare species we have never seen before. Another crew enters the woods, not to make peace with the paranormal there, but to provoke it. Posted on the Very Spooky Video subreddit by Enrique Glue. This crew came across a witch in the woods, and they decide to test her powers. While wandering through the woods, they spotted something creepy to say the least. Far off, amongst the trees and brush, a creepy figure is caught in the spotlight of their torch. The pale figure has long dark hair and is wearing all black. She simply stands there motionless as they set their eyes on her. She watches them as they watch her. They pull their flashlights and camera away, but when they move back toward her, she is still there, watching them. They cast their lights on her for a while. She stays still and silent. They attempt to address her, but she doesn't respond. One of them throws something at the witch. You can tell his aim was on point as the being instantly falls over. They then run like wild out of the woods. After this encounter, I kinda hope the witch caught up with them. Mature footage was shot somewhere in an underground sewage system. The cameraman is presumably a maintenance worker who is wearing a chest cam. Little did he expect to find a humanoid down there with him. The video begins with the cameraman seemingly frozen in place. The camera is very still, as if the maintenance worker is too afraid to move. Maybe he heard a noise and is waiting for a creature to reveal itself. Suddenly, a pair of floating eyes peer at him from the distance. The eyes appear to belong to some sort of nocturnal predator. They reflect so much light that all you can see are two gigantic white dots that are roughly as wide around as flashlights. The humanoid does not appear to have much experience with humans and seems apprehensive as it peers around the corner. It decides to run away and the cheap camera cuts out before we can see any more of the chase. The creature seems incredibly fast and probably got away, but exactly what happened next is anyone's guess. The video footage survived, so the cameraman probably did as well. Then again, maybe they recovered it from his dead body instead. There's just not enough information out there to say for sure. A YouTuber named Alien6467 and a friend are heading down a long stretch of country road in Southwood, New York, when an abandoned White House on the side of the road catches their attention. Something feels odd about this house, so they decide to get out and start exploring. The first thing the two of them notice is a room with #vengeance scrawled across the wall in big green letters. Under this word are dozens of bags that inexplainably contain only a single coin. After a bit of searching, they find a loose floor panel nearby and start pulling out more Ziploc bags containing single coins. The strange feeling gets even stronger after this discovery and they decide to leave. When filming the house for one last time, they see that they are no longer alone, nor were they ever to begin with. A mysterious black silhouette watches them from above without sound, but I guess it could just be a prank. I mean, they were just inside of that room. So maybe Alien6467 went up there again and pretended to be a ghost for the final shot. Then again, it could even have been somebody who was squatting in the house. The coins might have been a calling card, each one representing a previous victim. Could that flicker of light you see fast past be someone's soul? Published to YouTube by Tomato Superman to the Ghosts subreddit. This security footage from the Golden Cross Weatherspoon in Broomsgrove in the UK shows just what happens in old haunted places after dark. The security footage reveals a strange, iridescent pink light flash around the corner and down the hallway before vanishing. Tomato Superman says that he's a skeptic but admits he found this odd. He writes that the place has been closed for 3 weeks and that the alarms had gone off, which is why staff came in to check it out. This is what happens in the recording that seems to set off the alarms. He said the security system also started to break down immediately after. Many in the comments aren't sure what to think either, although some lean hard into the spirit world. And could this be something similar? A spirit making its presence known in this place? It certainly doesn't look like your everyday dust orb. An encounter with a mysterious pale figure in the forest. What could go wrong? Published by F2 Fun Facts YT. This cameraman arrives at a cement well that may be home to a madman. Peering down into it, he only sees darkness, but then he pulls back and casts the camera over his surroundings. In a corner near another cement structure, a pale figure is crouched. The figure looks human but keeps very still. That is, until it suddenly springs up, turns around and launches at the cameraman. Its movements are incredibly agile, almost superhuman, and its skin is inhumanely pale. Does it live in the well? Needless to say, the cameraman flees, leaving us to wonder if the creature was human or something else. There's no more haunted a place than a 20th century lockup. Published to YouTube by Heather Hauntings in March of 2020. Heather and her man are staying in a cell where inmates have allegedly passed away. The result? Major paranormal activity as evidenced in these 2 videos. Last used in 1984, the jailhouse was once the scene of at least one life-taking and another person locked up took their own life. Of course, with such a twisted history, many believe former inmates now haunt its grounds. Paranormal investigators have heard caustic sounds, footsteps, and voices. Even the historian believes the place is haunted. Bullard told the Jasper News, "Let's just say I went to the front door and left quickly. I heard something. I saw something that moved like a shadow, and I didn't stick around."
Here all night?
It seems enough of a warning for these paranormal investigators to know they're about to experience something truly chilling. In one video, they explore talking to the spirits via the spirit box, meanwhile hearing strange noises throughout the building. At one point, when they black out the room, loads of EVPs can be heard on the spirit box. In the second video, as they're staying overnight in the cell, they attempt to communicate with the spirits again. After asking if another inmate took the life of the spirit, they hear a distinctive yes twice on the EVP.
Yes. That was a very clear yes.
At around 14 minutes 30 seconds into the video, they start to hear the lightest of footsteps. They attempt to catch some shut-eye in the cell, and around 3 a.m., the witching hour, something bangs loudly, awakening them. Around the same time they heard this noise, Greg says he felt something touch his leg. Needless to say, they couldn't go back to sleep in the cell. Could you? I certainly wouldn't. Captured at Hillview Manor in Newcastle, these paranormal explorers face their fears. Published by SCWC in October of 2019, the uploader calls this the scariest moment of their entire life. Although the video has no sound, the YouTuber says footsteps charged at them from down the hallway. The video shows their terrified reaction as they all look toward it. One of them even dives out of the way as the invisible spirit charges toward them. Noting that the footsteps ran between all of them, the uploader writes, "The walls and floor shook with every footstep this spirit took while running." Well, you don't see anything run past. This group's synced reaction seems more than genuine. What was in the Hill House with them? Is this just a smudge in the window? Or is this ghost watching you? Published by Korean channel Lonely Gang in July of 2019, this scary video was originally captured in August of 2013. The footage shows a cameraman walking alongside some abandoned buildings at night. The camera turns down an alleyway when up in the corner of the window, on one of the buildings, is a ghostly face staring at him.
작년 8월 19일 여름에 찍은 거죠. 부산의 모 흉가촌이죠, 흉가촌. 눈 동그란 총각이 저를 쳐다보고 있습니다. 흉가촌에서. 자, 저기 보이십니까?
A still shot of the window shows the creepy image up close, and it looks like a semi-transparent young man looking sideways out of the window. What is the identity of this ghost? Any guesses? All I can say is that whoever this is, it clearly wants people to stay far away from this building. A YouTuber named Chris Starr takes an electrometer to an antique store with Omar Gosh to check for signs of the paranormal. They find this creepy old marionette without a nose that seems responsive and eager to communicate.
Please let us know by touching my K2 meter. We really want to know if you have a story or not. Oh God.
So they buy it and run some experiments in the car, where a special spirit box is waiting to help translate. First of all, the marionette seems to react positively to being untangled and held properly. When they ask for its name, a female voice struggles with an answer that a male voice soon finishes. Then they hear some other creepy whispers that I can't understand, but I'm hoping maybe you will.
Can you tell me your name?
I'm not sure what to think, but the fact that this puppet responds to two different pieces of paranormal equipment makes me think that this has a greater chance of being real than not. If it is possessed by a spirit, then it could also be cursed, in which making this video could carry dire consequences. This extreme close-up of the moon captures an unknown object floating at what appears to be mere meters over the celestial body. Alexi_N shares this mysterious footage with the YouTube community. Can you guess what it is? In fact, it looks like something drifts down toward the moon from the floating object. Folks in the comments have some wild theories. Are extraterrestrials refueling on the moon, as some suggest? It's possible, but I think it could also be the International Space Station. Although the ISS is only 250 miles from the Earth, while the moon is 230,000 miles. In photographs, the ISS often looks much closer to the moon than it actually is. But even if it is the ISS, that doesn't really explain the object that appears to be traveling toward the moon from it. Additionally, the uploader has CGI videos on their channel. This one isn't marked as such, but there is still the possibility this is special effects. Share what you think in the comments. I'm torn on this one. If you've ever been in a bug swarm of any kind, you'll know it can give you chills. This mayfly swarm is no different. In fact, it's practically nightmarish.
Oh my God!
When the mayflies took over this bridge in Iowa, snowplows were required to unblock the swarm buzzing in the bridge's path. In fact, the bridge had been so completely swarmed by the bugs that emergency crews were sent to the area. The nightmare scene turned into a scary situation after bikers tried to plow through the massive heap of mayflies but lost traction. Luckily, they escaped. The bridge's clearing was recorded by Tina Franzen as she rode along in her son's police car. Franzen said of the event, "I've lived in Sabula since '75. I've never seen that many before, ever." To clear the bugs over the following weeks, it was decided by the Iowa Department of Transportation to keep the streetlights off near the bridge, as the lights attract the mayflies. Here's hoping it all worked out for Iowa. They don't need any more of this nightmare fuel. The shadows are coming for you. Published by ILM and Bono Paranormal in July of 2021. This creepy clip shows you are never as alone as you think. A man is walking through an abandoned building and his camera scans the room. Look carefully in the window pane. A shadow figure passes by, outlined against the glass. It's unclear if the figure is outside walking past or inside being reflected, but all I do know is the cameraman has company. If I were him, I'd be getting out of there ASAP. This abandoned prison castle was built in 1865 and was used to house all types of scary people. It was a transitory prison before sending prisoners to hard labor or exile. Now it apparently houses actual ghosts. Published by Toppy in November of 2021, these paranormal investigators went to visit the dark and mysterious place. Here's what they found. Outside, they walk around the wall where lives were ended. Then they head inside. The investigator notes that they say they've heard some coughing. Inside the cells, they listen but hear nothing. They come across strange windows, perhaps built for ventilation, lockable slots, likely to deliver food to the inmates, and a shower room. In one hallway, they find this figure, posed like a statue. We aren't sure what its story is, but it towers over the place like it's floating. At one point, a strange, unexplained noise is recorded as they're talking, and another sound is heard, like blowing on metal. They also hear a door bang at a distance. They say they feel like they're not alone here. Perhaps they aren't, but is their company alive or paranormal? Bob Osborne flies down a bumpy mountainous road in Bolivia with little concern for his health or safety. The 7-minute downhill race is filled with large rocks like this one. He navigates the obstacle just in time. Look how slow this van is driving. That's the appropriate speed for such a treacherous road, yet it's quickly passed. Keep in mind this vehicle could easily kick a rock straight into their dirt bike at any time and send them careening to their doom. They eventually make it to the bottom of the mountain still in one piece. I just hope Bob Osborne performs regular maintenance on his bike, because this looks like the type of road that could snap a tire clean off at any time. A custodian calmly takes the elevator down to his workplace destination. Moments after he gets off, something appears to briefly dance overhead in the area where he was just standing. It could just be the blurry close-up image of a bug running across the camera lens, but it's weird how the round black mass slowly wanders over to where the buttons are located, almost like a real passenger would. It then somehow seems to blend in with the shadows against the door, which makes me think that this may not be an insect after all. Look at this part and tell me what you see going on here. After a while, things calm down, and nothing moves across the screen again for another full minute before the video ends, leaving me with the impression that this was a quick paranormal incident. Is this really the mummified remains of an extraterrestrial? YouTube channel Paranormal Planet thinks it is. The creature certainly looks unique with its small skull and long neck. I can see why they'd think it's an extraterrestrial. I'm wondering if the mysterious arrangement surrounding the extraterrestrial was part of the blast. I'm also curious if the extraterrestrial is attached to it in some way. Will some in the comments think it's clay, a dinosaur, or a severely dehydrated turkey? I think there's a good chance that this truly could be extraterrestrial. YouTuber named Jason L is rock climbing with his friend Kevin when they come across a narrow and claustrophobic crevice. Not wanting to get left behind, Jason follows Kevin's lead, but his resolve weakens considerably about midway through.
Kinda wishing we didn't come in here, Kevin. What? I'm pretty terrified.
Barely 10 seconds later, Jason takes the worst step of his life.
Oh no.
Here, give me the camera.
My foot's stuck. My foot's stuck. I'm so serious, I can't move.
After some initial panic, he steps out of his shoe and manages to dislodge it. After some effort with both hands, look again and you can see what would have happened if Jason L had tripped and fallen forward. Instead of stepping out of his shoe, it's a sharp drop down a series of spiky rocks that could have easily resulted in shattered bones and an emergency airlift. The historical Winchester Mystery House was basically built to be a nightmare. The Queen Anne-style Victorian mansion in San Jose, California, was the personal residence of heiress Sarah Winchester, who started building it in 1886 and didn't stop until her passing in 1922. Not having a master plan, the enormous mansion features such oddities as secret passageways, staircases to nowhere, and hidden rooms. The home is said to be haunted. Posted to the r/ghosts subreddit by Resident Science 525, this scary video may have captured one of them. The footage shows a short staircase leading up to an exit in the Winchester Mystery House. As the camera pans for a moment, a semi-transparent figure moves past the staircase. The Redditor writes that there are no windows or air vents in the hallway, and no reflective surfaces. So what is this? Or should we say who? This video of a girl brushing her teeth is said to have been found behind a dumpster by a nearby worker taking a break. Deep voices on the tape sound like they must have been slowed down, but her toothbrush sounds normal, so I don't know what's going on here at all. After 14 seconds of this, movement is heard off camera, and she is ambushed by something that sounds not of this world. I get the impression that she was not aware that she was being recorded because she never looks at the camera. Maybe it was even taken on the other side of a one-way mirror or through a hole in the wall. Captured. Upon entering a haunted place, oftentimes you know you're not welcome. That's what happened to the YouTube team, Dref David TV, when they entered this haunt.
Hello?
Something is thrown down the stairs at the team. You can tell it didn't fall, it was thrown. Although we can't see what threw this object, I'd take this as a sign that this spirit is a Grinch. Derek Desso Daly finds himself in a darkened cemetery on a 24-hour challenge with some friends. There's only some basic snacks and a small flashlight to split between the three of them, but they feel confident nothing serious will happen. Derek barely gets into the cemetery, and already he hears strange sounds that I don't think can easily be faked.
I know that I don't see anything past this road. Oh, what's that sound?
Hey man, there's somebody walking right there, bro.
Where?
Derek claims to see someone off in the distance, though I personally don't see anything. Still, he turns off his flashlight and quietly walks away to avoid detection. Other than that, nothing else happens until around 3 AM, at which point the strange sounds return, even louder this time.
Yeah, we have a Ouija board and we have a...
They start playing with the homemade Ouija board and think they see something move in the trees. Then they think they hear footsteps. It's hard to say if they are just being paranoid or really experiencing something paranormal, since nothing special is caught on camera. Later though, when they begin chanting a spell to speak with any nearby spirits, I can definitely hear what they are talking about. Eventually, one of them gets separated from the group and is covered in red when he returns. He claims to have fallen, but something about his story sounds off.
John, what happened? Something fell.
Something falling on its own seems quite unlikely, making the claim of paranormal activity even more plausible.
Well, I found or saw a mysterious creature around 4 in the morning.
A YouTuber named Bishop has caught a creature on doorbell cam that he can't explain. The video looks like a bug, except Bishop says that the motion sensor absolutely will not turn on for insects of any kind. There are wings, but he says they could possibly belong to some kind of humanoid creature. Whatever it is, it does something really weird next after it lands under the bench. It just kind of, well, disappears. It doesn't fly away and it doesn't crawl under the bench. It just vanishes. Something that an ordinary insect wouldn't do. It could be time-lapse editing because the ground gets darker when it disappears, signifying that some time has passed. I'm almost positive that this one isn't real, but let me know what you think. Liz coloring in the living room when her papers blow away despite there being no breeze. Even if the windows are open, the curtains behind her do not move, so this simply shouldn't happen indoors. When the little girl comes back to stare in utter confusion, it just gets worse. The room is silent, no fans are on, so how does this happen? If this is real, then it definitely has to be the work of a poltergeist. Maybe it's already even attached to... Thank you so much for getting me to 50,000 subscribers here on my Clips channel. If you want to support, please press that subscribe button. Let's get to 60,000 subscribers next. Thank you.